Hey yo, it's time to roar, get loud, let's ignite. Jeremy B in the house, we keeping it tight. Every weekday at 11, we ready to ride. Lions Talk Live, come and join the pride. Waking up early, it's that morning grind. Tune in to the show, leave the troubles behind. Jeremy B's the king, with the voice like thunder. Every word he spits, it's a lyrical wonder. Got the lions around, sharp and fierce. When we hear one pride, you can't help but feel your heart pierce. Talking all the topics, keep it real, keep it raw. With a lion's mentality, we're ready for the roar. One pride, it feels right. Jeremy B bringing the heat, morning light. Every weekday at 11, we taking flight. Lions Talk Alive, yeah, we ready to bite. One pride, hear us loud. Jeremy's in the zone, making us proud.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What up, though? It is Lions Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. This afternoon on the East Coast at noon, 11 Central, 10 Mountain, 9 Pacific. How's everybody doing today? It is PFF Tuesday, but we do have to address that Ryan Branch was suspended one game as of yesterday, and he released a statement saying he plans to appeal. I think it's a mistake. He should just take his lump. That's just me. Moonscar. Hey there, hosers and posers. Fred with a good afternoon. Lunchtime with the Motor City Kneecap Sippers. Yes, Ed Smoking Dad has entered the chat. Let me turn on the soundboard. Yeah, so we are back in it, talking the football. There she goes for Jim Jackson if he's here yet. But we're going to talk about our top 5 and bottom 5 by PFF. I do have that up and ready for us. 5 highest rated defenders. It was Thomas Harper with 10 snaps with an 87.5. Roy Lopez was second with a 77.1. Mamik Robertson was third at 69.3. Al Qadim Muhammad, 65.4. Alex Anzalone, 65.2. Our bottom one at 5th from the bottom is Rock Ya-Sin, then Talik Williams, then Jack Campbell, then Pat O'Connor, and then, of course, Kirby Joseph was the worst rated one. Comment here. I think they had reacted to what was happening and what wasn't happening, and I'm going to leave it at that, Dad. Ricky Sakat. Our top 5, Sam Laporta, Christian Mahogany, Jameson Williams, Jared Goff, Panay Sewell. Our lowest 5, Jahmyr Gibbs, Dan Skipper, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brock Wright, and Isaac Tesla. So am I, because I saw that he wasn't credited a snap, but he only had 6 pressures against him on 25 snaps of passing. He was 5th worst, and he was above 60, which is average. So I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. Paul Jones. So that is it. That is our 5 highest and 5 lowest at each side. Brian Branch is suspended a game, but he says he's appealing, and I think it's a mistake. I think she should just take his lump and sit out the game, because if they really want to get technical, he threw 4, and it could end up being really bad for him. And that's just my personal opinion. I think he should just take his lump and sit out the game. Laporta had a great game. Even if we get it all clicking at the same time, we're going to be a serious problem. Not ideal to see St. Brown and Gibbs bottom 5, but it's going to happen. Amen. Every week. And it's proof of more parity. Now the Chiefs are 3-3. We're 4-2. We're still in second place and a half game behind the Packers, because they have the tie. And I said that tie could either hurt or help us. It all depends on where we end up. And I'm going to leave it at that. I am not talking shit. I'm talking facts. We saw the Bears win last night on Monday Night Football. Congratulations to them. It may have been a 1-point win, but a win is a win on the road in the rain in Washington was pretty impressive to me. Were they perfect? No. No, hell no. And then we saw the Bills fall apart against the Falcons. It's more proof they miss Ed Oliver and Matt Milano more than anybody wants to admit. Defensively, they're falling apart. Offensively, they were missing one whole side of their line from the guard and the tackle position. And that's why James Cook couldn't do anything. That's why Josh Allen was under pressure. And I'm not using injuries as an excuse. I'm giving it as a reason why. Other teams have won with injuries. Other teams have lost with injuries. It happens. It's the NFL. Yeah, it is. It is kind of odd. And they did it with Jake Moody, former Michigan kicker, former 49ers, that was cast off like a wet rag that had too many holes in it. And he comes in for Cairo Santos, I think it was, and kicks the game winner. It is what it is. Mm. I don't think so. I think it was proper, the reaction to it. Corey! And there is something to be said like that about that. Do you know why kickers tend to struggle in San Francisco and Pittsburgh? And it's the same reason. It's the orientation of their field, and swirling winds make it difficult, just like it usually does at Soldiers Field. We have seen many of them missed in those three stadiums specifically by many kickers. I'm not making an excuse. I'm telling it like it is. I know. He's been fined 13 times now prior to this game in his career. This was his 14th time getting fined, and they said last week. Yes, Dad, this is the new hat. It is the salute to service one. I'm trying to see if the guy has any more. Yeah, that's it. This is his third season. That's all 3 seasons he's been fined 14 times. And they said after the 13th time, he'd be suspended. He'd face stiffer penalty. We play the Bucks at home on Monday Night Football, who may be missing Ibuka, Mike Evans may be coming back, but Chris Godwin may be out. But yeah, let me bring that up again so you guys can see it. That's our top 5 and low 5. He's in the running. We know who's falling off. I mean, let's face it. Goff had a good game. He completed 79.3% of his passes. He had 4 key drops in that game. Amen. And we don't know if Bucky Irving will be back for the Bucks this week. I just want to see a good game. And it's on Monday Night Football, where Goff and the Lions are now 12-3 on primetime games. We've had 3 losses. Well, Corey, I'm going to defend that by saying last year, Branch set the franchise record for sacks in the game versus Baker. And we had another one, because that was when Davenport was still healthy, from Davenport. We also had one from Alex Anzalone, and they still beat us. So we pressured them all game. That was the game that Aiden had 4.5 sacks, with a half sack from Aline, a sack from Davenport, and a sack from. They held him out last week for some reason. Maybe this is the game they want to bring him back. I don't know, Fred. They keep saying he's close. That's all I keep hearing. And I think this is the week they have to activate him, because it's the 3rd week as of Monday coming up. Not this past one, the one coming up. So that's up to Dan Campbell and the medical staff. That's not up to us. And I'll leave it at that. Yeah, hey, Baker does Baker things. I'm not even taking anything from him. Good to see you in the chat there, Leonard. But yeah, it's proof of parity. The Bills lose to the Falcons. The Bears beat the Commanders at home. The Panthers beat the Cowboys when they're at Carolina. Patriots beat the Saints in their house. Giants beat Philly. Yeah, I don't like getting into the whole penalty thing, because it looks like we're crying. I'm not going to cry about it. We didn't play our best game, and they played better. Does it suck that the penalties were missed? Yes. Am I going to cry about it? No. I know, and we miss him a lot more than people realize. We had a bad game. We don't usually have 2 bad games in a row. We haven't lost 2 in a row since 2022. And I'm going to leave it right there for you. We have not lost 2 games in a row since 2022. Pat enough. There you go, Pat. It's back. Better than ever. Had to make sure it would charge. I had to let it sit all night to get it back. I know. I understand, Patty, and I don't want to bitch about penalties. We did not play our best. Goff played fine. We didn't even have a net 100 yards between Monty and Gibbs combined. We had 100 total yards rushing, but not net. So it is what it is. We saw Goff run for first downs looking like Pat Mahomes sliding under in front of people. I don't know. Panay Sewell's in. The only tackle that's out right now, Manu hit the IR, so he's out 4 weeks. Dan Skipper did good for us. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, a coach said he wants Monty out there more. That's fine. If they're clogging the middle lanes where David Montgomery feasts, you'll see more Gibbs. If they're clogging the outside lanes where Gibbs feasts, you'll see more Monty. That's what I'm hearing. It's no different 1 week to the next. The teams that don't have a dominant defensive tackle, and let's face it, the Bucks do. They have Vita Vea. He's back in there. I hope so because we need him. The line plays better when it's our starting five. That's a given. The last 2 weeks are proof of that. Oh yeah, it goes way back further than that. Now how bad the refs have been. There was a game. It is going to be a tough game. There is no cakewalks in the NFL. We've seen it. I ended up with 9 wins this week somehow, even though I got the Lions wrong. I thought the Dolphins would beat the Chargers just because they're so beat up. Not gonna lie. I picked the Bills to win, they didn't. I picked the Commanders to win, they didn't. Amen. Yes, they are. Ibuka got hurt with an ankle injury. He's questionable. Chris Godwin has not fully recovered from his older injury, and it's questionable if he plays or not. And Mike Evans is just returning from injury and could play, but nothing is set in stone. All three of those main wide receivers are questionable. Sterling Shepard has stepped up nicely in the stead of Mike Evans, but if all three of them are hurt, nobody. We all predicted the Bills. I think maybe Keegan said Falcons because they were at home. And that's crazy. I don't think it's his fault. I don't think it's a coaching issue. I think it's a personnel issue. And I've said this before. When you're missing one of your most dominant defensive tackles in the game and an all-pro middle linebacker who stops the middle runs. Hey, right now the NFC North is the only team where every team has a win percentage, winning record right now. I don't. The NFC and the AFC is all up in the air, really. I'm still going to say it's going to end up being the Bills or Chiefs, probably the Chiefs. The Chargers are falling apart at the wrong time, and I mean, at the tackle position, they don't have either one of their starting tackles in. Omarion Hampton got hurt. Najee Harris is hurt. They missed Khalil Mack the last game. They're getting hurt at the wrong time. Uh, I think the Bills will correct, and if you actually watch the Falcons game, I think we shouldn't have went away from the run in the second half. I saw us go away from the run and started passing more. We only ran the ball 22 times. I think the Colts might be the dark horse, and the Jags might be right behind them. In the NFC, I predicted 2 of the 3 wins for the Carolina Panthers. I didn't expect them to beat the Falcons. I'm not gonna lie. But I did predict their last 2 wins. I think it's still gonna end up being like, not saying who's division winners or whatever. Philly, Lions, Bucks, either Rams or 49ers, Seahawks, and probably the Packers. And I'm not saying who wins the divisions or not. I'm just saying those are the ones. And with a dark horse outside shot of the Panthers coming in because they're looking like they're playing better on, especially on defense lately, and especially at home. If they steal one on the road from somebody, look out. On the AFC, it's the normal people at the top. Bills, Chiefs. I think you got to put the Steelers in that mix right now. I don't think Gruden wants to touch the Titans with a 10-foot pole. They look awful in the trenches right now, and that defense isn't as good as it used to be. Broncos look good. Chargers look like they could be good. The Bears are a bad team. They're 3-2 right now. They have a winning record. We beat a team with a winning record. So uh, the Browns, they beat the Packers and then couldn't beat us. The Bengals, they're a bad team. We know it because they don't have Joe Burrow, and their defense is full of holes like Swiss cheese. I think John Gruden would be a great coach. I just don't think he'll touch the Titans. That's just me. I think he does. He looks like he has the it factor for the Giants. He looks very calm and poised under pressure. Uh, Cam Scadaboo looks like he's going to take over that starting running back job for good. He looks amazing, and as long as they're both healthy, they'll be fine. But at what cost? By the end of this year, they may be both eating pudding. Andrew Isham, I'm not going to go into that. You play who's on your schedule. It's not your choice. We played the Browns right after they beat the Packers. I don't know how that was a bad timing. Uh, we played the Ravens when they were 1-1. They just won a game. We came out flatter than Travis Kelsey's fiance on week 1, and we came out flat against them last night. Hell, we came out flatter than we did again, flatter than Caitlin Clark last Sunday night. And I think that whole touchdown being taken off the board deflated them, even though technically it was the rule. And I agree that it was the rule. But at the time, it was ruled a touchdown, and penalties are not supposed to be reviewable. So it didn't come from New York. New York said they never called down. Yeah, exactly. That O line is atrocious. It's almost as atrocious as their defense. I know. I understand, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Karlaftis was in the neutral zone too. It was a neutral zone infraction. I don't want to get into that because then it looks like we're crying. Do I think it was fair? Probably not. But that's not the reason we lost. Do you think it was fair? Go Pack Go. That's the real question. Fans outside of our team. What up, fellas? Jim Jackson. Thank you. Um, I saw a picture of 5 holding penalties that wasn't called. There also was the blindside block on Juju that wasn't called, and there was the taunting of Pat Mahomes throwing the football in Branch's face when he ran in for the touchdown. Thank you. I appreciate that. Go Pack Go. I understand that, Omnipo. I'll tell you what it was, and I'm going to say it again. 13 of Pat Mahomes' passes were against our linebackers, Alex Anzalone and Jack Campbell alone. That doesn't include Trevor Nowatzki. That doesn't include Derek Barnes. That doesn't include any any of the other ones that were out there on that field. So 13 of them to those two. And you know how many receptions they had out of them? 11. Amen. I agree with you. And also, and now I was just talking holding penalties. Let's not talk about how Karlaftis and Chris Jones were lined up in the neutral zone on that play when they called the penalty on Detroit. So there's all sorts of things that were wrong in that game. But at the same time, it didn't go our way. We didn't get the calls. It happened. It was Arrowhead. Chief Frog Throat Kingdom. It has. Right. Um, it is what it is. Amen. I agree. To beat the refs, you have to play with the lead. We had 4 penalties called against us. All of them deserved. I'm sorry. The 4 penalties that were called were all deserved. And I'm not saying they weren't. So but I'm saying just between AA and Jack Campbell alone was 13 of them, and there was 10 receptions or 11 receptions there. and that was 2 of their touchdowns. Our tackling was atrocious. Alex Angelo missed 4 tackles. Jack Campbell missed 4 tackles. Rock Ya-Sin missed 2. Kirby Joseph missed 2 in the first half, maybe 3. Brian Branch missed a couple in the first half. Brian Branch didn't miss one. And I said it last show, and I'll say it again. Since Roger Goodell has been here, it became the NFL, the no fun league. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm not trying to deny anything. I have said we came out flat. That performance, I know. I thought, what's funny is that was the handoff between Daniels and the running back, Krosky Merritt, at the on that last play down in the red zone. Daniels was awful on that exchange. He was charged the fumble, plus he had that horrible pick. So he had 2 turnovers himself, and Jakrowski Merrick had 1 fumble early in the game that cost them points. That's why they were down 13-0 right off the rip. Because let's face it, Jake Moody did miss an extra point. And I'm trying not to get into politics on the show because, hey, so here is some injury updates that just came in. Yoli, good to see you. So here are the injury updates from the latest presser. Terrion and Avante Maddox are not expected to play this week. Marcus Davenport will be eligible to come off the IR, but will not be able to return until after the bye. Malcolm Rodriguez should return right after the Lions bye week. And the Lions are hopeful that Aleem can return this week. Otherwise, it'll be Monday night. Oh, yeah, but Zaquan, the only thing I'm worried about, Mike Evans is questionable, Ibuka's questionable, Bucky Irvin's questionable, and Chris Godwin might be still out dealing with his hamstring injury. So if they're down all 3 of those receivers, that bodes well for us. But Terrion and Maddox are out. Michael Davenport might be eligible to come off IR this week, but will not be able to return until after the bye in week 9. And they're hoping that Aleem is in this week. I hope Aleem's in this week too, because then we can take people like Mikai Wingo and our undersized tackles that are rotational and move them to defensive end to help there. And I think that will well. I, we can because we'll be at home. Let's not forget. They are still missing the one guard who is uh, doubtful for this week. Tristan Wirfs has been back for a few weeks, and their center is back, but the one guard is still out. He's the one that's questionable right now and possibly doubtful. So I'm going to keep an eye on that this week, and I will make my predictions based on who they say is in come Friday. If I see limited or at least one full practice, you can expect that those guys might be in. If you see a no practice, more than likely they're out. Yes, they are a tough team, and they got one of the best defensive tackles playing the game right now, and he's back healthy. That's Vita Vea. He's a big reason why they're able to clog up the middle runs. Teams that are able to run outside are the ones that are able to do damage against them. Yes, Monday Night Football in Detroit. Detroit's at home. That didn't matter last year, but it wasn't a Monday Night Football game. It was a 1 o'clock when we lost to them. Uh, he's been average, 3-3. I'm not going to say he's been great, and I'm not going to say he's been bad. He's been good. Yes, injuries do dictate a lot of games. It's the reason why the Bills are struggling right now. They have injuries, and everybody's like saying, "Oh, they're trash." They're not. They just had 2 weeks where their O line and the middle of their defense is gone. The Packers did it once. But that's basically the news for now. At least I addressed what I could. I got the injury news right away out to you on who may or may not be able to play. I don't think that's a talentless team. I just think Quinnen Williams out for that defense hurts them more than anybody's realizing. Teams are gashing them from the middle to the outside, is what I see with the Jets. If you watch them when their people are running against them, that's what I see. But that's been the news so far today. Looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow at noon. I'm not wishing for injury. I'm saying that that's the injury reports right now. So there's a big difference there. Fans may wish that. I don't wish injury. I don't wish injury on any team because injuries are awful. You're talking about people's careers and their money. Oh, you said the same thing versus the Browns and the Ravens. But have a blessed day, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Turn it up, it's that time again. Jeremy B. Lines, he's your best friend. Every weekday, Evan, you know the vibe. He's shouting one ride with that rockin' drive. Rolling up the scene, light up that fire. Jeremy's in the booth, taking us higher. With a grin and a laugh, he's got the crowd in a blaze. Smoking out the haters in a rock star haze. The stories that inspire and riffs that will ignite. When one pride echoes, everything feels right. Jeremy B. live every day at 11. Yelling one B ride like we're in rock heaven.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.